As a kind, caring, and compassionate educator, you probably recognize that your role in the classroom is more than just education. You probably recognize that you're walking alongside students, that you are a safe person to them, and you seek to help them to regulate and to be the best student they can be. I'm Caroline Poland from Poland & Associates Consulting, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about regulation activities that you can use in the classroom with students to help them to widen that window of tolerance and to kick them out of either hyperarousal or hypoarousal when they've gone back into that amygdala to re-engage that prefrontal cortex. If you haven't watched my other videos in the Window of Tolerance series, you might want to do that first and then come back to this video because that will lay some of the groundwork for what we're going to talk about today. So today we're just going to talk about a number of different strategies that might be helpful for incorporating into the class. Another movement-based strategy that you can use, I learned this from Karen Purvis's Institute of Child Development and Trust-Based Relational Interventions, is to put your hand or your finger right here. There's a little pressure point right here. Make a fun mustache. Inhale. Exhale. That's a good one. Probably not for a COVID era, but at some point, if that is not an issue, that is a great movement that you could use. And then you could use the limp noodle. And so with that, you're going to take a nice deep inhale and then say, go limp. Kids will kind of relax and you're going to let all of the tension out of your body. And then you're going to say, okay, sit up, take a nice deep inhale. And as you exhale, go limp. And they're just going to collapse, and it can be kind of a funny thing. It can get some of the wiggles out a little bit. But practicing things like that with them, again, the more you can practice ahead of time, the more you'll be able to rely on those things when you need it. I know the website Go Noodle has a number of different movement-based fun strategies to use, and so you can explore that as well to consider what might work. Another movement strategy, especially for older kids, that might work is to have them roll their shoulders back, take a nice deep inhale, and take their hands, palms up, and just set them on their knees. Take a nice deep inhale, slow exhale. Or have them take the backs of their hands, put them on your lower back, and take a nice deep inhale and exhale as well. One of the things that happens when we start to lose access to that prefrontal cortex when it goes offline and we go back into our amygdala is that we lose access to executive function. Our mind just kind of goes blank. And that's really hard when we're in the middle of taking a test or we're about to stand up and give a presentation. And so cueing even in the middle of tests to do something like that will catch a student if they've gone offline and they're disconnected or too much brain fog, having a hard time concentrating, will help them to regain that balance as well. Again, with students of all ages, teaching them the body scan is really important in developing that idea that they can be that curious observer or noticer of themselves. So with that, you're going to start at the top of your head and you're just going to scan slowly down and you're going to notice what's happening in your body. Do you feel hot? Do you feel cold? Are you hungry? Are you thirsty? If we've experienced trauma, sometimes we lose the ability to notice those sensations. And so we're trying to teach students how to get back into their body in a safe way where they have agency of themselves. So going through from head to toe and doing that body scan will help them to notice what areas of their body feel tense and what they can do about it. What's triggering them, what's serving as an activating event, and what happens next. What can they do? What do they need? What regulation skill can they put into place? Do they need to go somewhere in the classroom to do something differently so that they can get into that regulated space, re-engage that prefrontal cortex, and widen that window of tolerance or get back into that window of tolerance again? Again, with students of all ages, you can use the simple technique of orienting. You can just go side to side, look left, look right, back to center, focus on your feet on the ground, take a nice deep inhale as you look one direction and as you move to the other, a slow exhale, and recognize what feels safe or steady or calm or secure. And you're trying to just kind of create an anchor point for that student so that if they start to go back into a flashback or they start to experience a trauma trigger, they know what they need to do to get out of it. And again, you want to normalize for your students, no matter what age they are, that we all have mental health and we all have physical health. And just like we have physical needs like eating and drinking and sleeping at night, we all have mental health needs. And that means that we need to do things every day to be proactive about maintaining our mental health. So if we can have these conversations in the classroom, it will normalize this need that we have to regulate ourselves and to pour into our mental health, but it will also reduce shame when they might hit fight, flight, or freeze, when they go back into that amygdala, when they get outside of that window of tolerance, that you can come alongside them, say, hey, let's try this again. Or when this happens, here are 3 things that I can do, or here's what I've noticed helps you. Does this feel accurate? Does this feel true? So have them proactively plan. And again, you can do this whether you are a 1st or 2nd grade teacher, or if you are a 12th grade government teacher. So this works across the lifespan. You can do this if you are in higher education as well. Just make it age appropriate. So get creative about having them create a plan. If I get anxious and I'm sitting in the classroom and I can't move, here are 3 things that I can do. Have them write that down in an assignment notebook or in a note on their computer if they do a lot of computer or tablet work, so that they have access to that, so they don't have to think about it at the time. The more proactive we can be for planning when we get outside of that window of tolerance, because of course as humans, we're all going to get outside of that window of tolerance from time to time, then they just know that they need to go to that note and they've already planned for themselves. Again, we're teaching them these life skills. We're going to need this across the lifespan. We will, from time to time, have things in life that get us outside of our window of tolerance. That's part of being human. And the best thing that we can do is proactively work to widen that window of tolerance and create a plan for ourselves for when we get outside of that window. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Poland & Associates, and my website polandassociates.com, and make sure that you subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss out on future videos.